Hello everyone, welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, I want to talk about primitive data types and what those are. So Java has 8 primitive data types. What is a primitive data type? A primitive data type is a data type that's defined in Java that isn't considered an object. They represent raw values, and they're stored directly on the stack. The first one that we're going to cover is int, which is known as an integer, and an integer holds 32 bits of memory. So that's equivalent to 4 bytes. It's pretty simple to declare an integer in Java. I went ahead and created a numbers class in Eclipse, and I included a main method to illustrate this example. So to declare an integer in Java, all you have to do is type in int for int, and then the variable name. So let's say 1 is the name of this variable, and I'll set it equal to 1. And there you go. That's a variable 1, which stands for 1. I can create another one. Let's call it 5. And set that equal to 5. You can add them together. You can subtract them. You can do all kinds of stuff. Multiply them, divide them, what have you. Now, one thing to be aware of is that decimal values can be chopped off when you're performing standard arithmetic on these integers. For example, let's create another integer. Let's call it integer, new integer, and set that equal to 34. Now, if I try to divide 34 by 5, it will not give me a decimal number, it'll give me an integer. Let's print this out. New integer divided by 5. Let's see what this says. I'm going to run it, and I get 6. We know that there's a remainder, but that remainder is lost because we just performed right here. This says integer division. The way that you can get a decimal number by dividing two numbers is if you make one of them either a double or a float. So if I change new integer to a double and run this again, I get 6.8. It doesn't matter which one is a double. All that matters is that one of your numbers is a double or a float. I can make this a float and get the same answer. Now, what's the difference between a float and a double? A float is a single precision decimal number. If we get past 6 decimal points, this number becomes less precise. If you don't care about that, you can use a float. It doesn't matter. This data type also stores 32 bits of memory, which is 4 bytes, just like int. Now, a double is a double precision decimal number, and it stores twice as much memory as a float and an integer, so 62 bits. So it's 8 bytes. It can represent a much larger range of possible numbers than a float. Now, there's other types of primitive data types that you can use to store numbers, such as shorts, longs, and you declare them the same way that we've done in these examples. For example, bytes b equals 100. I can declare short and a long. And I can also print them out. And it prints out all the numbers here. The main difference between all of these data types is how much information they can hold and how much memory they hold. I'll insert a table here so you can take a quick look at that. Bytes, shorts, ints, and longs are all similar types of data types where they do not contain decimal numbers, so they're whole numbers. Bytes are the smallest ones, and it grows in order of memory size. Shorts are 16 bits large, ints 32, and longs are 64 bits large. And floats and doubles are decimal data types, float being the smallest one and double being the larger one. And here you can see the range of numbers that they can hold. Going back to our numbers example, we've seen 6 of the primitive data types. There's 2 left. And what are those? The 7th data type is a car, which stands for character. So I can define a car data type by specifying car in the beginning, say 1 character, and set that equal to a character, for example C. The 8th data type is a boolean data type. A boolean data type is a variable that can stand for true or false. Booleans are especially useful for when you're using conditional statements in your code, for example if else, and else, which I'm not getting into in this video. I just wanted to define them in this video. However, I want to keep these 2 data types for another video, so stay on the lookout for that. And that is essentially the 8 data types that Java has. Let me know if you have any questions. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and support me. And let me know if you have any recommendations for future videos that you would like to see. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks and have a great day.